Hey guys, I have another deck profile here today. Today we're going to do Super Quantums. Starting with the monster lineup, you play 3 Super Quantum Blue. Blue basically adds any Super Quantum card, including your field spell. So he's basically terraforming, but better. His effect when sent to graveyard is he shuffles himself and any other up to 3 Super Quantum cards back into the deck. So basically, you recycle your Super Quantums over and over, so that way you just keep playing. Next, we play 3 Super Quantum Green. Green is basically a Summoner Monk type card when normal summoned. Basically, you want to open with blue and green so you get blue's effect, and then pop off there. Because then you can link them away, blah blah blah, all that. His effect when sent to the graveyard is basically Dark World Dealings, but with Super Quantums, you have to discard a Super Quantum card, which is not bad, but not great at the same time. Sometimes it depends on what card it is and when you do it. Next, we play Super Quantum Red, 3 of them. Super Quantum Red is basically a Cyber Dragon, and he can also be on Monster Reborn. When Super Quantum Red's effect is basically when it's summoned, normal or special, you could target 1 Super Quantum monster in your grave and add it to hand. That is very resourceful because then you can add green, blue, fairy, others, white maybe, besides red. Now, red's effect when sent to graveyard, you could basically target 1 other Super Quantum card and special summon it to your side of the field. Next, you play 3 Super Quantum Fairy, Alpha Fairy. Fairy is basically, her effect is basically tribute herself, target 3 Super Quantum monsters in your deck. Your opponent randomly chooses 1 that gets special summoned. The rest go to graveyard. So basically, you want to run 3 because you can target. So say if you don't open any of these, you can get blue, or red or green, whatever you need at the time, and just go off from there. Next, we play 2 Super Quantum White Layer. White Layer is basically, he becomes any of the Super Quantum monsters when summoned, and then when he's sent to graveyard, you can add a fairy back from your grave or from deck. So he can basically get fairy for you, but I only run 2 because I found out 3 is a little bricky sometimes. But yeah. Now, that's in the Super Quantum monsters. Some tech monsters I usually run is usually the Danger Engine. I only run 2 Mothman, a Tsuchinoko, and a Nessie. You don't really need Jack, you don't need Bigfoot, you don't even need to run these, but I run them for consistency. And since Mothman and Tsuchinoko are both level 3 and level 4, they can also go into the XYZ monsters, which is very helpful when you don't have another level 4 or level 3 on board, and you are used to field spells effect. But yeah, you don't need to run them, but I do. Very optional. Now, going on to the spell lineup. Some of these are tech cards, some of them are for the build. For example, 3 Super Quantum Field Spell. This is basically your best card. The best card you want to get. Basically, you discard 1 card, and then you XYZ summon blue, green, white, anything. And then if you have green, blue, red, and or white in your field or in graveyard, you basically sacrifice this, you send it to grave, and you go for Great Magnus, your boss monster. That's what you want to do with this card. And then, with blue, get it back in the deck. Just very resourceful. Next, we play 2 Feast of the Wild level 5. This basically says you get red back. It says up to 2 level 5 warrior monsters, so you can literally just get red back and just combo, and then pop off from there. Next, we have, I'm going to put all these 3 together because, Now, reasoning is at 1. Reasoning is at 1. Everyone knows what reasoning does. Reasoning is very useful. But I also run 2 Monster Gate. Monster Gate is basically reasoning, but with a tribute effect. So basically, you could tribute red, white, whatever, and get their graveyard effects off too. And then, get a monster, hopefully. So these three basically do the same thing for you. Basically, another body on board. Next, we play Twin Twisters. Nothing to say about that. It's Twin Twisters, backward removal. And you get the discard, so it's very useful for the dangers. Next is very optional, but I run 2 Dark World Dillings. Basically, it helps me debrick my hand and get an extra draw. Very optional. Next, we play a few one-offs. Emergency Teleport to get blue. Call by the Grave. Regeki. Foolish Burial. And then Super Quantum Appeal. And then we also play Terraforming, 1-for-1, Upstart Goblin. Foolish Burial, I usually send red or blue, depends on the situation. This is a great card, very situational though. I might take it out, depends. Regeki's is board wipe, monster wipe. Call by the Grave, hand traps. Emergency Teleport gets blue, which you can use blue's effect then. 1-for-1 helps you get fairy, very useful. Upstart, an extra draw, and Terraforming helps you get your field spell. So basically, you're running the 4 field spells in this. Now, let's move on to the trap cards. You only run 2 trap cards in this entire deck. You run Super Quantum Union and Metaverse. This is a great card, but very situational, just like Appeal. Metaverse is basically a 5th Terraforming. Very useful. Helps you get the field spell out a lot quicker. Now, moving on to the extra deck, we play 2 Neo Super Quantum Mech King Blaster. He's very good. I might cut him down to 1, maybe up him, but yeah, he's good. Basically, he cannot be destroyed by opponent card effects, which is very useful. And then every time when you XYZ summon to a zone he points to, I don't believe it's hard to once return, don't quote me on that, but you can draw 1 card. That's very useful for a little bit of draw power. Next, we have 1 Infinite Track Fortress Mega. Now, this is very useful for when Magnus dies and it's still your turn. You have all 3 of your Super Quantum red, green, and blue usually, and you go into him, snatch an opponent's monster. And next, we run Land, just a generic link 2, very useful sometimes, optional though. Then we run Blocker. We run Blocker because it basically helps you recycle your field spell just like blue, but it adds it to hand. And then when he's on field, he protects your field spell. He's very optional, but I run him because, just help out. Next, we run 2 Super Quantum Mech Beast Luster Rex. He's basically the white version of Lair. Basically a Mechazord, basically, Power Rangers, blah, blah, blah. His effect is detach 1, then target. 1 effect monster on the field negates effects until the end of the turn. It does target, which sucks, but, if it goes off, those effects are negated, which is very useful. Next, we run 2 Mangalore. And basically, you detach 1 and destroy 1. Destroy 1 monster on the board. Very useful for getting rid of floodgates and, stuff. Next, we run Grandpas, 2 of them. Basically another MST, but detach 1. So, MST, monster form. Then we run Erebos. I don't know how to pronounce that, my bad. But we run Green Layer, 1. He's basically detach, target a monster, set it face down. Basically just a Book of Moon. And then we run the boss monster. We run 2 Super Quantum Mech King Great Magnus. Now, this is the monster you want to try to get into every time. He is basically, he is your boss monster, indeed. And he is super powerful. Now, For each material on him, for example, if he has 2 or more, once your turn during either player's main phase, you can detach one XYZ material from this card, shuffle one card on the field into the deck. It does not target. And then 4 or more, it's unaffected by card effects except super quantum cards. That's very useful for, like, say, what's popular? Other cards like, let's say Fogblade, for example, Phantom Knight Fogblade. He's unaffected. And then 6 or more, your opponent cannot add cards from the deck by card effects. So, their Pot of Desires, Pot of, everything, draw power cards. So basically, they can only draw cards to add them to their hand. But yeah. So that was my Super Quantum deck list. If you like it, leave a comment if you like it, and leave a like. Remember to subscribe.